Hello everyone. For this video, I'm going to show you how you're going to do the animal digital painting practice assignment. And for this assignment, you're going to use Photo P and you're going to choose one of these animal files that you're going to paint. So you can choose any one that you like. I'm going to choose the elephant, and you will open it. You'll find the download button. Save it to your device. And then you're going to go to Photo P and you'll open it here. So first off, I wanted to show you, here's an example of one that I've made already where I colored in the alligator. And you can see I have all of my layers set up just like what we did with the sphere. So I'm going to show you how you're going to get started and get you going. So first thing, I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm going to choose the elephant. So here it is. Now, what I'd like to do now is look at my layers. My background right now is this whole document that's white with the lines on it. I'm going to change this and I'm going to call it lines. I actually just want to keep the lines on it and I want to paint underneath them. So I'm going to rename it line, and I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to place it underneath line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this base. This is where I'm going to put the base, the shape of the animal, and the base colors. So I'm going to type in base. Now, I don't want the white to show through of my line drawing, so I can come up to screen mode and change it to multiply. Now, when I click on my base, if I grab, say, a color, the white is gone. Now, the only thing that we can see are our black lines, so we can do all of the digital painting that we want underneath it. So, first things first, we've situated the line so it's set to multiply so it's see-through, and we just see the black lines, and now we have our base layer ready to go. I am going to select the elephant so that I can fill it and create that base shape. So I'm going to come up to my toolbox here and I'm going to click on the magic wand tool, and I'm going to click on the outside space of the elephant and click on Control-Shift-I, and I'm going to fill it. So hold on, it didn't work. Go. So what you're going to do is the first step is you're going to go to your line layer. You're going to grab the magic wand tool and you're going to click on the white space around your animal. I'm going to go back to the base layer, and now I am going to Control-Shift-I to invert it. So now the elephant is selected, and I'm going to choose a color. I'm going to use the paint bucket tool, and I'm going to choose a color from my color picker as to what I want my elephant to be. So I'm going to do this lovely blue-gray, and I'm going to click on it, and it'll fill it. Feels a little dark, so I'm going to go a little lighter. So I'm going to change it until I find one that I like. Okay. So I like that shape. I now am going to go in and I'm going to paint the rest of it, the colors that I actually want it to be. So Control plus zooms in. Space bar allows me to sort of move it around. And now I can come in and I can paint in different areas. So I want his ears to be maybe a nice little pink color. I'm going to put the opacity of the brush to 100. I actually want the brush to be pretty hard because I want a defined edge versus a spray. And now I can go in and I can color in. And take your time with this. I'm moving a little bit fast so that I can not hold your time up too much. But you go in and you would paint the colors that you want. And I would do it on both sides. And as you can see, having the line layer on top allows us to paint underneath those lines, and it makes these really great clean edges. The eyes, I think I want to be white. Again, take your time to really fill them in nicely. Whoops. And then I'll do the tusk, right? And then everywhere else on the elephant that I want to be a different color, I'll take the time to go do. I could do his nails. And toenails, right? But color in your elephant those base colors that you want to start from. All right, there's a good start. I would probably maybe do a red tongue or something else there too. But there's my base. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect, and now I'm ready for the next step. So now I want to do some shading, right? So I'm going to, above the base layer, I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to call it Shadow. I'm going to make another layer. I'm going to call it Core Shadow. Another layer. I'm going to call it Highlight. A fourth layer that I'm going to call Reflected Light. And I'm going to have all of these layers be a clipping. You apply the clipping mask to the layer underneath it. Because remember, I want to color only on the elephant and not the surrounding space. The last one is Cast Shadow. And then I'm going to make one more because I might want a background, and I can put that on my layer one. So just like with the spheres, I went through and I added all of the different aspects of light so that I can start to paint on them. So just like with the other ones, I'm going to start with the shadow, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to grab the brush. I'm going to right click. I want that 0% hardness, right? We want soft blended brush, probably a little bit bigger. And I want my opacity to be, again, around 20, 15 to 20. I'm going to choose a color. I like this blue to start with, so I'm going to grab the eyedropper. That's right here. And what this does is it allows me to click on a color, and it pops up in the color panel so that I can use it, or I'm going to go a little bit darker with it. And it allows me to start to paint with it. Oh, I'm going to grab my brush. Again, I'm going to go a little darker. And I'm going to go in and start painting. Now you're going to have to be careful with this a little bit because it will potentially go into other areas, right? The legs and the belly. You can use the selection tools if you want to sort of select just certain areas and to color in, you can do that. Or you can just sort of go carefully, right? My core shadow, I'm going to go even a little darker, smaller with the brush. But I'm also defining where my light source is coming from already. And it's coming from sort of above and to that side. I'm going to use the eraser tool, sort of help me with my blending a little bit, right? Same 20, 0% hardness. I can come in now and grab a lighter blue, For my highlight, the brush, I'm going to go a little bit bigger with the brush. You can right-click to change it, or you can use those brackets on your keys. Now, the only thing about the reflected light is you're only going to have that potentially in a few places. So you don't have to worry about it quite as much here, but it is something to consider. So in all of these areas, the arms, the legs, the nose, I would go through and continue to add my shadows and have them all going in the same direction, right? Underneath, a little bit to the left, and I'd go in and I'd sort of apply all of these and the highlights and such. The other thing to consider is you might also want to put some color in here. So blues, you could do a little bit of a lovely purple and add a little bit of a purple tone to it, which makes the painting a little bit richer with some color variations. You could go into the highlights and you can add a little bit of a yellow and make it a little bit warmer. So you can play around with colors within your shadows, core shadows, highlights, and all of those things. And then when you're done, you can add a background to it, or just do File and save as a JPEG and your PSD file and attach it to the assignment and turn it in. But that is your goal. Play around, paint in one of these coloring pages, practicing the 6 aspects of light and using the brush to do some digital painting. Good luck, everyone.